What if I told you one of football's most gifted midfielders nearly had his rise broken before he even reached his prime?
Because Pedri was not just Barcelona's golden boy. He was the teenager who played too much, got hurt too often, and then had to prove again and again that he was still special.
So today, we are telling the full Pedri story, the genius, the pressure, the injuries, and why he still feels like one of the most important players in Barcelona's future. When people talk about Pedri, they do not usually start with noise. They do not start with drama. They do not start with flashy celebrations. They do not start with controversy. They start with football, the first touch, the calmness, the control, the way he makes difficult things look simple.
And that is exactly why Pedri is so interesting. Because in a football world full of huge personalities, giant headlines, and non-stop hype, Pedri feels different. He feels quiet. He feels classy. He feels like the kind of player serious fans love.
But there is another side to the story. Because Pedri is not only a genius midfielder, he is also a player whose career has already had pain, overuse, setbacks, and the constant challenge of coming back again.
So in this video, we are going through 5 parts. First, who Pedri is and why he felt special so early. Second, how quickly he rose at Barcelona. Third, how injuries started becoming a real problem. Fourth, why people still believe in him so strongly. And fifth, what comes next?
Pedri, whose full name is Pedro González López, was born on 25 November 2002 inches Tegueste, Tenerife. Barca's official player pages list him as a midfielder who joined from Las Palmas, with the transfer agreement having been reached in 2019, before he officially arrived in 2020.
And right away, there was something different about him. Not just that he was talented. Lots of young players are talented. It was the way he played. He did not look rushed. He did not look scared. He did not look like a kid trying to survive. He looked like he understood the rhythm of the game.
That is a rare quality. Some players impress you with speed, some with power, some with tricks. Pedri impressed people with understanding. And that is why so many comparisons started early. People saw a Barca midfielder who seemed to think faster than everyone else.
Pedri's rise at Barcelona was insanely quick. Barca's official player profile says that in his first season at the club, he made 52 appearances, more than any other Barca player that season, and that campaign earned him both the Golden Boy and the Copa Trophy.
That tells you everything. Because at a club like Barcelona, you do not play that much by accident. You do not become a regular that early unless the coaches already trust you completely.
And this is where Pedri's story becomes both inspiring and a little worrying. Because while everyone was praising how good he was, the workload was starting to become part of the story too. Barca officially announced in August 2021 that they had decided Pedri needed a break after such an intense run of football.
And when a club like Barcelona publicly says a young player needs a break, that already tells you the load had become serious. Because Pedri was not just a prospect anymore. He had become essential far too quickly. Now we get to the hard part. Because the biggest threat to Pedri's rise was never his talent. It was whether his body could keep up. Barca issued multiple injury updates across 2024, 2025, and 2026, including a left knee sprain in July 2024, a thigh tear in October 2025, and a hamstring injury in January 2026.
And that is the dangerous thing with a player like Pedri. Because his game is built on rhythm, timing, movement, and flow. When those things keep getting interrupted, it is not just about missing matches. It is about breaking momentum, breaking rhythm, breaking development.
Then there was the emotional hit with Spain. During Euro 2024, Pedri was injured against Germany after a challenge from Toni Kroos, and Guardian reported that the injury ended his tournament. Later, Pedri publicly forgave Kroos.
That moment mattered, because it reminded everyone that football careers are not only built on brilliance. Sometimes they are shaped by what gets taken away from you too.
Welcome to Football Superstar Stories, where we tell the rise, glory, and legacy of football's biggest stars. Our goal is to bring you inspiring football journeys, unforgettable moments, and the stories behind the legends. If you love football, please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing.
So, if Pedri has had this many setbacks already, why do people still believe in him so strongly? Because when he plays, you can still see it immediately. Barca's official content in January 2026 said he was in the best form of his career under Hansi Flick, and by that point, he had already made 224 appearances for the club, becoming second on the all-time Barca appearances list for players from the Canary Islands.
That is massive. Because it shows two things at once. First, that he has already done a lot. And second, that people inside the club still see him as central to the future.
There is also the way Barcelona talk about him. Their official pages and videos consistently frame Pedri as one of the most loved and most trusted figures in the team. He also won the Barça Players Award in 2025, which recognizes performance, attitude, and values.
That is important, because it means Pedri is not only respected for ability, he is respected for the way he carries himself. And for a player coming through injuries, that matters even more. So, what comes next for Pedri? This is the big question, because now he is no longer the new kid. He is no longer just the wonder kid. He is no longer just the future. He is part of the present.
UEFA's current player page still lists him as Barcelona's number 8 and a core Spain midfielder, while Barca's official channels continue to highlight his importance whenever he returns from injury.
So the challenge is no longer proving he is good enough. That has already been done. Now the challenge is staying available, staying physically right, and turning all that talent into long-term greatness.
Because if Pedri can get continuity, then the ceiling is still enormous. Not just as a very good midfielder, not just as a fan favourite, but as one of the defining midfielders of his generation. So before we wrap up, here is the key point. Pedri's story is not powerful because it is perfect. It is powerful because it is not.
It has brilliance. It has pressure. It has beauty. It has setbacks. And it has that very human question in the middle of it all. How many times can a genius keep coming back? So what are we really looking at when we look at Pedri? We are looking at a midfielder who made 52 appearances in his first Barcelona season and won the Golden Boy and Copa Trophy.
We are looking at a player whose rise became so intense that Barcelona themselves had to step in and give him a break.
We are looking at a footballer whose path has already been interrupted again and again by injuries.
But we are also looking at someone Barca still trust deeply, someone the club described as being in the best form of his career under Hansi Flick, and someone who already has more than 220 appearances for Barcelona before even reaching his mid-20s.
That is why Pedri's story matters. Not just because he is gifted, but because every time he comes back, he reminds people why they believed in him in the first place.
And maybe that is the best way to describe Pedri. Not loud, not flashy, just special.
So what do you think? Can Pedri still become the defining midfielder of his generation?
Let us know in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Football Superstar Stories.
And if you know any football fans who would enjoy this story, share it with your friends and family too.
Thank you for watching until the very end. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share Football Superstar Stories with your friends and family. Your support helps us tell more football stories.